Hey everybody, listen, today we want to talk about really quickly the power of video search. And there's kind of two aspects to this. One of them is like what happens in the YouTube platform and why is it important? And the second thing is how do you draw attraction and more traffic to your videos? This is a question or questions that we get asked at Arcane Marketing all the time. So I thought that quickly we'd just go over some of the basics on it and maybe help you out a little bit. So a couple of really important stats in the first place is about YouTube itself. So one of the reasons why we talk about optimizing for YouTube is a couple of really important reasons. And hopefully we highlight them in some of these stats that we've pulled here. So number one is that it is 52 times easier to get a video to rank in Google search for a key phrase than it is to get any website page. Now that's when you're searching in Google, you may notice, because I see it all the time, that at the very top of the list, you start to see a handful of videos. Usually it's 1 to 3 or 5 videos that show up at the very top, and then they start showing the website results, the organic results below that. So keep that in mind. It's 52 times easier to get a video to rank for a difficult or competitive keyword than it is for a page on your website. The second thing is that I'm saying this is kind of like an obvious piece, and I'm going to let you draw your own conclusions. But Google owns YouTube and has since 2006. So there's that. Keep that in mind. YouTube alone averages about 4.5% of all daily search. 4.5%. That's not a small amount. If that's any consolation, that is more than Bing, more than DuckDuckGo, more than Yahoo. So just put that in perspective. YouTube itself, with nothing else, 4.5% on average of daily search volume. There are 125 million searches in YouTube alone every single day on average. And I want to point out that searches in YouTube, that means you go to youtube.com and then there's search in there. But that does not include the 125 million plus searches a day, does not include searches from google.com. So we all know that happens in the billions, but if that can add to it, 70% of the traffic in YouTube is from mobile devices. 70% of YouTube media is consumed on mobile devices. I don't think that's a surprise. YouTube is the single best platform for business decision makers to make their decisions or feel like they're influenced by what they see. If you're on YouTube to do business or you have a business of any type, and quite honestly, it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in, consider that most business decision makers, small business, big business, whatever it might be, feel like YouTube influences them more than anything else. YouTube is neck and neck with Facebook as the most popular social media platform at 2.6 billion active users. So I don't know what constitutes an active user, but those are some pretty strong facts. Now, Facebook, or excuse me, Meta, as we might know it now, is a little bit on the decline. It's kind of holding steady. I'm not clear on whether or not they are growing currently here at the end of 2022, but we do know that YouTube is growing. So if YouTube hasn't surpassed social media, Meta on social media as the most popular platform, it's going to happen soon. Okay, all right. So now I'm going to erase the board here and I'm going to put up some steps on what you can do very specifically to help influence the search that can see your videos. Okay, listen up. This is the second part of the tips and tricks on how you can get more traffic to your YouTube videos. Now, this is not an exhaustive list. There are 50 other items that we could talk about that do have an impact, that do have a difference. But when people are asking, like, what are the quick and easy things that I can do on my own on my website or when I'm uploading the video that make a difference, I'm going to show you. So I've listed down here 11 items, but let's start at the top. So when you go to upload your video to YouTube, it actually matters on what you name the file. the file that you use to name the video that you're going to then upload the video should contain your key phrases or your keywords in that file. So just think about it this way, the same way that you would add an alt text to an image that's on your web page. Maybe something really similar where it's 2-3 words separated by a hyphen or something like that in the file name. So if you start there, that's a good start. The second thing is add transcripts automatically. So when you're uploading the video, it'll actually let you add transcripts. Select that option. Very helpful. Number 3, mark that your video is not for kids. You'd be amazed at how many times I see this happen, and a lot of people don't understand. So you have 2 options. Mark that this is a video that is safe for kids, or mark that it is a video that is not for kids. Now, it might sound negative, but you want to mark that it is not safe for kids. And here's why. If you mark that it is safe for kids, it's only going to show up to audiences that are considered kids. Okay, so YouTube video for kids, if you want your video to show up there, that's where you would essentially make that clarification. So when you select not for kids, then you're opening it up to be open for everybody and anybody on YouTube. Okay, number 4, make sure your cover thumbnail is attractive and engaging. Yes, YouTube will give you a couple of options based off of some of the scenes that they pick out for images within your video. If one of them's okay, I mean, there's nothing wrong with you to use that, but you would be better off making your own cover photo, maybe adding some words or something really colorful, something that makes it pop, gets attention. That's definitely helpful. Google actually knows when you do that. So it's not just for users, it's also for YouTube to know that that's been done. Good, because they do give priority over people who take the time and add a separate thumbnail cover that is engaging. Number 5 is include your keywords in the title and in the description. Now I want to point out the description, to my knowledge, there are no limitations on how long that can be. So your description could be 500 words if you really want it to be. I'm not saying that everybody's going to read that, but if you use your keyword or your key phrase in the description, that's going to be helpful. If you use it in the title, that's helpful, but make sure that you do it tastefully. So whatever the video really is about, your benefit or advantage is to name it that. But if you can find a way to put your keyword in there without making it feel over-optimized, that's a good thing. Okay, number 6, don't use more than 5 hashtags. So Google gives you the opportunity to tag your video with some tags. If you use, now I'm telling you all of these based on our experience as an agency over the last 8 years and doing a lot of YouTube optimization. We've had many, many, many wins. When you use more than 5 hashtags, here's what happens. You start to dilute the value of your video and the signals that you're trying to give to YouTube or to Google of what the video really is about. Keep it down to 5, don't use 15, don't use 12. The rule really used to be 8, but there is evidence supporting that 8 is too many. So consider that. Number 7, make sure your web page is highly relevant to the video. So the content that surrounds the video that you're putting on your website, make sure that that content is directly correlated or highly relevant to the video. Now you want a little tip on this? Here's what we usually do. Why don't you take your video and just transcribe the video and use that as the content on the page? I'm not saying that's the answer 100% of the time, but it sure works a lot. It makes for a really good blog post. But that's how you make sure that the content that's on your page is relevant to your video. Good signals. All right, number 8, use proper schema markup on your web page. Okay, schema is something that I found that a lot of people just don't know. And if I could give you a rule of thumb, something we talk about in our agency at Arcane Marketing is a very simple thing, and a lot of my clients have heard me say this, a lot of my organization has heard me say this, but here's the rule. Schema all the things. That's simple. Schema all the things. If you have just basic schema on a page, that's better than nothing, but definitely not going to help you get in a competitive world with search for your video. So consider that you definitely want to put video schema around your video. So wrap your video in schema. Okay, number 9, embed the single most important video near the top of the page. So a couple of pieces on this. Number one is that Google will really only prioritize one video per page. So if you have 2 or 3 videos you're going to put on the same page, that's fine. The one that appears at the top or first in the code, that's the one that gets the priority. So if you can keep from putting multiple videos on the same page, or if you're really trying to optimize for traffic from YouTube, 1 video per page near the top. The higher up it is in the page, the more priority that Google feels like it gives to users, and therefore places more priority on the video and the strength of it. All right, number 10, make the video the focus of the web page. So if you're really trying to, it's pretty common for us to use articles, blog posts, etc. for either links or for building relevance, maybe blog posts on a website for a website that we're working for. The video should become the focus or a focus on the page. Make sure that you're not just haphazardly placing a video in there hoping that it catches attention. Yeah, it's better than nothing, but why would you spend the time doing it if it's not worth it? You want to make it worth it. Make sure that you design the page or the content or the way the page is laid out around the video. Okay, and number 11 is don't embed the same video on multiple places. We've seen this a lot of times where people will use the same video in a blog post, in some of their service pages, and then out and around in various places in the web. And what happens is that the video starts to cannibalize itself a little bit. So you don't want to become self-competing, and you want the attention given to the right place. The best way to have a control on that is make sure that one video that's placed in one place is on your website or in a place where you've got the most control. Okay, so that's the top 11 tips for helping you get more traffic from your YouTube videos. And I can't say it enough that YouTube is one of the most underutilized SEO strategies, traffic generation strategies. You want to win? Do videos. I cannot stress that enough. That comes from experience, and I hope that helps everybody else. Thanks.